We have been at war for a long time. There are just a handful of us left, still brave enough to fight for this lost cause. 10 years ago, the Ice Lords and their dead walkers swept through Fertile, crushing our armies one by one.
Alright, Bound by Flame, or as I like to call it, the game with more beards than I've seen in my entire life. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bound by Flame, what are we looking at here? What is it?
Well, Bound by Flame is the latest RPG from Spider Studio. Spider is a studio, a Parisian studio. We specialize in RPGs. So it's a dark fantasy universe with many, many monsters, huge bosses, and fire powers, obviously.
Just initially, just talking about character design, about enemy design. Now, obviously, the fantasy genre is such a huge and wonderful and diverse range of things. How do you guys go about designing characters and enemies that are very unique to your particular fantasy?
Well, actually, that's a hard question. We just tell our we have our game designer who wants to do specific things like enemies that will do that or this, like range enemies, shielded enemies, enemies resistant to magic, and then we just tell our character designer just go crazy, try something that we validate with the animator and everybody else because it has to be feasible gameplay wise, but then they go crazy and they do what they want. There's something we wanted to do, absolutely, big bosses. That's something we want to focus on. So we have many big bosses in the game because it's nice, it's fun to do.
Let's talk about the world, let's talk about the scope of the gameplay. So is this multi-region, open world? What's the sort of game type?
Okay, so the game is not open world. It's very story driven. So we go from chapter to chapter in the game, but inside the chapter you're in a hub. So you can go from different areas in the chapter, do secondary and main quests in the order you want. You have some quests that are story driven. It's a very story driven game. But yeah, you can hub all around the game. We're not in the open world genre. We are a very small studio. We don't have I would
say actually that leads on to the next question. How long have you guys been working on the game, and how long is actually left until you're finished?
Well, we've been working on the game for about a year and a half now. We don't have very much long to go. We're on the polishing state. We're on the polishing state and debugging. So yeah, we're pretty much done. Yeah.
Let's talk about the human demon aspect of the game that you were demoing for us in the presentation. How does that impact gameplay? How does that impact the narrative?
Well, the player gets given choices. When at some point in the game, the player has a quest that he can choose or dialogues that he can choose that will push him in a way or another way, in demon way or the human way. And at this point, it will branch the game, and you can have other quests, other choices that are conditioned to this. Some companion you can have, some companion you can't have. It also affects the player visually, so it starts growing horns and catching on fire. And it has an effect on gameplay, which your equipment will start to disintegrate, to degrade, because you're on fire. You have horns, you can put a helmet, things like that. So we want to give the player that the demon affected the game in every aspect. Story and gameplay and visual. Even the voice of the character changes because he's getting more demonish.
And with the combat, you're demoing there, you've got sort of like the two-handed sword combat as long as two daggers as well. So that's the core complex, but then you have the added skill tree of the pyromancer, which is based on the demon side.
Absolutely. Yes, there's something we started doing on Mars and we really want to improve is make a hard game. Like enemies are hard, they're solid, they resist some attacks. We vary the enemies, but at the same time we give many tools to the player, so he can really decide how he wants to play, how he wants to have fun. Does he want to be tanked? Does he want to be fast? Want to really think his strategy, putting mines, being ranged? Really, the player has many choices, and we believe that's part of the fun, giving choices to the player.
Because that's the thing, talking about a difficult game. I mean, these sort of the action adventures, action RPGs, is almost sometimes it's too much hand-holding, really. And it's nice to go back to a type of game where you really have to think, you really have to strategize for each particular enemy type and enemy group. And that sort of impacts you guys. You're showing us there, like basically one-on-one combat, group combat. You're having to think as you go into every single battle.
Yes, absolutely. We really want the player to feel that crafting is essential, that toolting is essential, that thinking about the fight is essential. We give so many things. We just want the player to get bored and just go and chopping enemies. So yeah, that's something really worked on. Crafting is very essential to the gameplay, and we don't give that much loot, so you really need to go around and look for loot. Yes, we like to make it bit, but then then again, if you go on easy, you can just go through the game, simple, like be nice. The story, there's a nice story, nice dialogues, lots of lore. So yeah, you can enjoy the game on both sides.
So what engine is the game running on, and which formats should people expect to see the game on when it's released?
So the game is running on our own engine. It's called the Silk engine. We've been developing this engine since we started the company. We've been developing on PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. It's based on the Fear engine. Very long time ago, it was based on the Fear engine. It evolved a lot, and now we've been moving on PS4 too. So yeah, we're moving on. It's very nice to have your own engine, because you can really customize it, do the things you know, and when you have a bug, you know where to find it. It's easier.
Just sort of finally, when is it coming out? When do people play this?
Yes, so we're aiming to release the game sometime in the second quarter of 2014, May, April, something like that.
Listen, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much, guys, and I hope you enjoy the game. Thank you.